My wife left us behind, then returned years later, and my kid called her the crying lady. My wife got diagnosed with a heart condition at 29. The cardiologist said 5 years if she was lucky. I sat in that cold office holding her hand while she cried. I told her we'd fight it together, and our son needed his mom. She nodded and said she wasn't going anywhere. 6 months later, I came home from a double shift in the ER, and her closet was empty. There was a note on the counter beside our wedding photo. It said, "I need to live my truth before it's too late. I'm with her now. Don't try to find me." No goodbye, no phone number, no address, nothing. Our son was barely 2. He kept asking for her and pointing at the door. I didn't know what to say, so I just held him and told him I was here. That first year almost broke me. I worked 60-hour weeks just to cover the $1,200 a month daycare bill. Some mornings, I'd sit in my car in the hospital lot and stare ahead until my hands stopped shaking. I tried to find her at first. I called her phone until it went dead. I messaged friends, checked her old job, even drove past her sister's place. Nothing. After months of silence, I filed for divorce and full custody. She never showed to court. The judge granted it by default and signed papers giving me sole custody, but said she could try to come back later if she wanted. I kept those papers in a drawer and read them anytime I felt shaky. I stopped saying her name out loud. I told myself the door was closed for good. My elderly neighbor noticed. She started watching him when I worked nights and refused payment. She said she missed having kids around. She'd have him fed and clean when I got home, and she'd leave little notes about his day on the counter. Around month 8, he started calling her grandma. That word hit me hard, but it also kept us going. I kept waiting for my wife to call, to send a card, to ask about him. She never did. By the time he was 3, he stopped asking where she went. In year 2, I got promoted to head nurse and finally had some breathing room. I cut back hours and started coaching his little soccer team on Saturdays. He'd scan the sideline for me after every play, and I'd clap until my palms stung. We built our own routines. Pancake Sundays where he stood on a step stool and cracked eggs. He got shell in the bowl every time, and we'd laugh while I fished it out. Movie nights where he'd fall asleep on my chest, and I'd carry him to bed. One afternoon, I watched him coloring at the kitchen table and realized I was actually happy. Not pretending, just steady, safe. Then last Tuesday at 6 a.m., someone started pounding on my front door hard enough to shake the frame. It jolted both of us awake. I told my son to stay in bed and walked to the door with my heart racing. I looked through the peephole and my stomach dropped. It was her. She was in yesterday's clothes, hair a mess, mascara streaked down her face. She was shaking and leaning close to the door. I opened it a crack with the chain on. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "I need to talk to you," she said. "Please, it's important." "You lost that right 3 years ago," I said. "You left our son with a note." She started crying harder. "I know, I ruined everything, but I'm dying. They ran new tests last week. My heart's failing faster than they thought. 8 months, maybe less." She wiped her face and looked past me into the house. "Please, I just need to see him." "That's not my problem anymore," I said, and started to close the door. She shoved her hand against it and stopped it. "Please, I need him to know I loved him. I'm sorry. I can't die knowing he thinks I didn't care." Her voice went sharp for a second. "I'll sleep in my car in your driveway every day until you let me see him. I still have legal rights. I'm still his biological mother." Before I could answer, I heard little footsteps behind me. My son was in the hallway in his dinosaur pajamas, rubbing his eyes. He's 5 now, all messy hair and big brown eyes. He stared at her through the screen door and then looked up at me. "Daddy, who's that crying lady?" My wife dropped to her knees on the porch. "Baby, it's me," she said, reaching for the screen. "It's Mommy. Mommy's so sorry. I made a terrible mistake leaving you, but I'm here now. I want to be your mommy again." My son looked at her confused, then squeezed my hand tight. "But you're not my mom," he said. "My dad is my mom, and my dad. He makes my breakfast. He reads me bedtime stories. He holds my hand when I have bad dreams. He teaches me soccer. You're just the crying lady." Her crying stopped. She stared at him, then at me, and I watched it sink in. She stood up slowly and backed away from the door. She didn't argue. She didn't say his name again. She walked to her car, got in, started the engine, and drove off. I stood there with my son's hand in mine as her taillights disappeared. Now her family is calling me heartless for closing the door. Was I wrong?